Our last speaker on my list is Mr. Zeljko Jovanovic. I believe that all of you know him, and I don't want to present him that much. Zeljko, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Although I know many people here, I always need to introduce myself by title here in Croatia because there is a minister with the same name and same surname. So, as you know, I'm working with Open Society Foundations, and I still hope that one day Minister of Education in Croatia will be a Roma person instead of me being his replacement in many conferences. Anyway, I want first of all to congratulate Croatian presidency, not only for taking over the presidency and chairmanship of the decade, but also taking a very serious topic about the future of the decade on its agenda. I also want to congratulate the government of Croatia for its successes in the European accession process. And I'm very happy that actually the Roma decade will introduce Croatia to the European Union. So I want us to focus a little bit this day because it's crucial in so many ways. In 2003, Hungarian government started preparations with the World Bank and Open Society Institute for the birth of the decade. It took us 2 years. I believe that if we are about to think 2015 and our objective to close the gap between Roma and non-Roma, we need to start working now to see and to determine the future of the decade. Unlike in 2003, when we had a high political commitment and less funding available for Roma, today we have more funding for Roma, but less political commitment. It is visible also within the decade that decade national coordinators are either at the lower rank of political posture in the government, many of them not present. We have also difficulties in subscription to the Decade Trust Fund. In overall, we need to recognize that times are also more dangerous because there is overall anti-Roma sentiment throughout Europe. So the context has changed and the decade needs to change. So these are the days where we need to make certain decisions about that, and International Steering Committee would need to make such a decision. If we measure by our objective whether we close the gap between Roma and non-Roma, we need to conclude that no, we haven't achieved it. Whether there is progress made, yes, there is. For the first time, we have the decade introducing sort of a regularity in the dialogue between civil society. We've seen that the European Union more or less overtook the model of the decade with the areas in which European Union and its member states will intervene. They will also have national focal points as we have national decade coordinators and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of advancement, but still ordinary people haven't felt a change. The reform of the decade itself is not needed only because the end of 2015, the end of the decade is close, but also, as I said, the context has changed. So here we are today. We have a very promising agenda. We worked in the last couple of months with the government of Croatia, mainly with Branko, through Open Society Foundations and the Decade Secretariat, to devise an agenda that will allow us to discuss and nuance our views, calibrate our options, and I hope that today and tomorrow we will have lots of material, food for thoughts, for very serious work in the coming months. I would expect that this meeting will be only an inception for the government and the Decade Secretariat to establish a small operational group of 7-8 people that would devise all the options that will be discussed today into a working material and have consultations with the member countries of the Decade of Roma Inclusion, international partners such as the World Bank, Council of Europe, UN agencies, European Commission, European Parliament, the United States of America, and other international organizations, and to have us in a process by June next year, with consolidated thoughts about the future of the decade, whether it should continue and what way, if it should, or how best to capitalize on its experience and finally close it in 2015. I would expect that in June, Croatian presidency would be able to do what Hungarian government, the World Bank and OSF did in 2003. Bring ministers of all the countries together with high representatives of European Union, and we have preliminary commitment of Mr. George Soros to join. So in June, we need to have the highest level of participation again, after 10 years, to see where we are and what to do with the decade in future in the new context and new challenges. Again, I would congratulate the government. This is not an easy task, and Open Society Foundations and the Decade Secretariat will make you feel and work as you are not alone, and we are ready to step forward with you with making a decision in June 2013. Thank you.